this week, two things that people were speaking about with your name in there. One was we saw I think probably the main card for UFC 304 get announced, and you weren't on that.
Yeah.
And then we see Ian Garry speaking up saying he's accepted a fight against you and he wants it to be on UFC 303.
Yeah.
Question to you is, what are you weighing right now?
So I'm weighing, it's fair, not too far because normally you get a little bit bigger after the fight, especially enjoying yourself. But no, not sure in pounds. So I always do it more in kgs. I'm like 90 kgs, which is for me it's not actually a hard cut. It's quite normal. When we got offered, so we kind of like there was like a send your way. Oh, Michael, what do you think of Ian Garry? And I kind of had asked for him directly after the fight, like, oh no, that'd be a great match. And I knew the UK card was coming up, so I was like, oh, that'd be a great fight. They said, Colby's already taken that fight, so that's not really a thing. But we'll look for somebody else for the same time. So in my head, I was like, yeah, I already knew I was going to be fighting in Manchester, but I was just waiting for an opponent. Colby's got some kind of issue. Didn't actually look into exactly what that was, but he can't make the fight. They're like, would you still want to take the? I'm like, yeah. Like let's put it on the UK card because it just makes sense, So I was like, yeah, straight away accepted.
When was this, sorry, Mike?
Last week or a week before.
Okay, cool.
And so I was like, yeah, let's do that. They went to go back, and I didn't really hear anything back, so I was just waiting. Yeah. And then he released that, he said yes, and I was like, okay. Well, I wanted to make it. I don't actually care when the fight is. I can do it next week. I can do it the week after. I don't mind. I'm just saying it made more sense for the UK. He's Irish. I'm English. On the UK card, it's going to be a big card. It'd be a great fight. I think he likes to just, hang on the back of people's coattails. So he sees Conor McGregor and gets excited. Whereas I don't care. Like I don't care for stuff like that in the sense of being on a Conor McGregor show. Yeah, there's loads of eyes and stuff, but I don't care. When I fight, there's eyes. Yeah. I like to create my own light. I don't like to, jump on the back of somebody else. So it doesn't bother me outsiders. It would be a cool UK card. Like that's a great fight for the UK. And now he's just changed it. Like, I don't want to fight. I've accepted it.
You've accepted.
I've accepted the fight. So we're just waiting. So
I'm just accepted it.
He says he's accepted it. This guy likes to talk because you remember just after the fight. Let's go back before the fight. He says, I'm never going to beat Kevin Holland. Then I did what I did. So yeah, he admits he's wrong. Then he says he's never going to accept the fight with me because I'm ranked too low. So then how all of a sudden you've accepted the fight? You need to figure out where you're at. Yeah. Make sense of what you're saying. And it's like even like a lot of people on my team are like, oh, you should say something back. Like I was like, chill out. He discredits himself because he just over talks. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, when the time is right, and it's right now. There we are. I'll say my bit, and then we'll see what happens next. But I've accepted the fight.
So as far as you're concerned, June 29th.
Yeah.
You're ready to go. You've accepted.
100%.
Does that mean you've accepted an offer, or does that mean you've just said?
I've just said I'm happy to fight.
Like, but there's been no offer. There's been no.
That's all the next stage. I'm just waiting for. I don't know the other bits that need to happen for the contract to come and but I've already said yes. So that's why I found it weird when he said that. So I was saying, okay.
Why do you think he's been so disparaging about you? Because as you say, before the Kevin Holland fight, he was very strong in some of his words about your chances. You might not remember, but we spoke before the fight as well. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I was trying to get you to slag off Ian Garry, and you weren't having a bit of it. If anyone watches it back, you were very, very polite, very cordial, and kind of weren't rising to me to stir something up. So why do you think he's speaking the way he is about you?
I personally feel like when there's something that can potentially cross your path that is dangerous, I'm hoping that somebody else deals with that. So I think that was the first point when somebody asked, are you gonna, would you consider a fight? He's like, oh, who is he fighting? Kevin Holland. He's never gonna beat Kevin Holland. That's hope. I hope he doesn't beat Kevin Holland because it means that I don't have to deal with that. Then I win. Then he's like, well, he's ranked too low, so I hope that I don't have to deal with that again. That's what it feels like for me anyway. And then him, even like I was seeing the interview the other day, and he's just like, well, I said yes. I said yes. He's saying it almost excited that he believes I haven't said yes. So he's like, oh, I've just missed that. So I can now brag that I've said yes and he's not doing it. But what the mistake is, and he'll soon find out, is I've said yes.
Yeah.
I would just, it would have just been better because I've just come off holiday. It'd have been better just give myself a little bit more time to kind of get into it. Do it on Manchester. And for multiple reasons, not just that. But I'd fight him next week. Then that's the thing. That's how I am. If I need to lose X amount of weight for that fight, I'll do it next week. That's not a problem. So I think he misunderstood what's actually going on.
Has he misunderstood what you're about, who you are?
I don't know. Like I said, I think he just finds that. I think he understands that I'm dangerous. When my name was going round, he was still making his way up on Cage Warriors. So he would have heard who I am. He would have seen who I am. There's going to be certain horror stories in and around different gyms that he would have come across. There's no way he hasn't. So like I said, I genuinely believe he just feels like, I'm hoping this doesn't happen. But I think he's just kind of messed up now. So it looks like it's gonna happen or can happen. And if it doesn't, it's definitely not from my side. So it looks like this is gonna collide, and he'll experience me firsthand.
Have you two ever met?
Nah, never actually met him. I never like to judge too much from a distance, but he inspires me to get in shape because he just has an annoying air about him. So yeah, to be fair, if there was any motivation needed, it's just him talking.
What do you think about the sort of hate that he generates towards him? What have you made of that? The sort of onslaught he gets, him and his family, and the whole kind of circus that has been going around in the last 6 months or so.
Like I said, I get how he can irk people. He can just trigger people. He's got a certain personality that just makes you want to dislike him. But a lot of people have like a persona, like a fight persona, and that could be, some people learn to switch it off. Some people carry it right the way through everything. I think that's what it is, and I think he's relatively young. But in terms of I'm always gonna stand my stance, like attacking his family and stuff. That's not something that you're gonna see from me, simply because I'm not fighting them. I'm fighting him. So I'll take the mick out of him all day long. Like, back and forth, we can have that banter.
Yeah.
Because we get to punch each other in the face, and that's the joy of what we do. Like, regardless of what's said, we get to really duke it out. And at the end of it, we can shake hands or not shake hands. It doesn't matter. Who cares? But there's going to be somebody that's won, somebody that's lost. But we can just be like, okay, man, like, tough fight, great, move on. I can't do that with anybody else. If I'm hurting somebody else, it's just just being petty, spiteful. And regardless of anything, for me personally, I was raised a martial artist, and that's something that I'll never switch off. So, I'll never kind of follow suit. Even if he wants to, continue in the same fashion, it's up to him. I'm just never gonna kind of jump to that.
So that's the personality side of things. As a fighter, what do you make of him?
Yeah, I think he's talented, man. He's definitely got talent. There's certain things that I see that potentially I could, exploit. But I think he's talented. I think he's doing really well. He's just got a nice traditional style that just works. It works for his body frame. He's nice and long. He's got just nothing wow about his fighting, but I can just see that, okay, he understands combat and well enough to just keep his form when he's moving. He's had a couple of tough fights where he didn't necessarily execute the way I'm sure he would have wanted to. Like Jeff Neal, that was a tough fight for him, but he was kind of on his back foot a lot. Jeff Neal was really powering forward, but he still executed and pulled off quite a few nice things. like I said, there's no need for, as a martial artist, I'm just going to analyze him as he is. And I think he's an okay fighter. Nothing that I haven't seen before, which is why nothing that I'm worried about taking on.